one of the biggest challenges in marketing is we do something today. Maybe we post online, maybe we, send out an e-newsletter. We do something today, and we don't necessarily know that tomorrow somebody's going to call us, email us, messenger us, whatever it is, to hire us to do something to pay us for a job. So with marketing, you can sometimes, when you're tracking things, you can see a pattern. More than anything else, the thing is the pattern. What happened? What did you do at this point? And what happened in a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 5 years? Because something happens with marketing where you're building that connection to somebody. I've had people call me 5 years later after they attended a workshop
Yeah.
and say, I had one gal stop me in the middle of the street and she said, "You're David Saxby, aren't you?" And I went, "Yeah." And she said, "I was in your course 5 years ago and I still have your workbook sitting on my desktop." Now, did I get any business from her 5 years ago? No. But the fact that she has my workbook still sitting on her desktop means that she's talking to other people as well, right? She's using it in her business. She's making connections and talking about things she's learned. So again, it depends on what you want to see as an outcome from a tracking perspective. So in marketing, we set kind of benchmarks of what we want to achieve and then track it. Because you can go online and there's all sorts of tools. Matt can probably talk to this. There's all sorts of tools where you get reams of data. But can you interpret that data, make sense of it, and figure out what the pattern is, and then create the next move in your marketing plan that makes sense? So I think
Yeah.
that's the key. Is metrics mean nothing. Marketing or measurement means nothing unless you have a purpose behind it, and you can use that information to move your business forward.
I'm showing up, as you know, as an investor for the last 30 plus years in real estate, more recently crypto, and consulting for as many years, coaching businesses for the last 15 plus years. And I started the space that we call Peers on Demand. There's always of companies on a monthly basis that they can join and participate. And we do that so that perhaps we can engage them in conversations. My first invitation is, of course, join us in peersondemand.com as a way to connect with leaders globally, different industries, different locations, different experience levels. Certainly the opportunity to join any of our free events. Today is for presidents of companies, tomorrow for CEOs. It may seem interchangeable, but different people do show up. And my third invitation is that you might consider being part of our business longevity team, the opportunity to be able to work with companies that are in transition and reassess where they're at. And we do that in multiple ways, from a team assessment to a business assessment to marketing assessment, to be able to uncover the gaps that they have and be able to plug those gaps or or be able to address the gaps with coaching, consulting, reorganization, process improvement, marketing, those areas, so that we can get them to readiness. And I think every company should get ready for transition, either to exit a business or be acquired or private equity or investment. So getting to that readiness stage means a lot for businesses that got tired of that. So that's my invitation, is that you might consider joining our community, peersondemand.com, any of our events, and be part of our business longevity community, so that you and I can have discussions and work with clients and transition a little bit more. Big ideas or opportunities. I think we need to have more of those because it's coming at us faster and faster. So you're working with family offices, also working in $1 trillion business, as I remember, with the boomer transition. So Richard, big ideas or opportunities that we can at least get engaged with you.
Um, Wait a minute. I was looking for a graphic that I wanted to bring up to share, and I have to.
Use your words. Describe the graphic.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
This
no,
is more of
it's
a,
fairly important. Anyhow, um, this is nothing. Well, it may have something to do with family offices, and I'm not working with them actually, not directly. But what the big idea here is Friday mornings from 8 to 9 o'clock, there's a core group of us who have been meeting for about 3 years, and it varies from 16 to 25 people. But there's a top core of 12 to 15. It's Friday with Friends is the name of the group. And what I was looking for was the button that we have now created for Friday with Friends. And
Key here, as you're doing that, what's the reason for having this? Because it's a
because
nonprofit.
I have, yeah, you wanted a big idea and an opportunity. The opportunity is presented and I need some feedback on it,
All
but it
right.
can be even more than that. Can you all see this screen or
Yeah, we
not?
could see it. We could see it. Go ahead.
Okay. This button is only maybe 2 months old. We've been meeting for a long time, and one of the people said, "Listen, let's do something with this." So we have people from Australia, from South Africa, from the UK, from many states, and two people have now said, "Well, help us set one of these up where we are." Okay, well, that's the big opportunity. That's the big idea. It didn't occur to us, this group of core people who we just meet to meet. There's no agenda. This is not politics. It isn't even business, although business shows up. It isn't religion. It's friends sitting around Friday mornings, which is a weekend, beginning of the weekend, having conversations about whatever is going on. And it can be personal stuff. It doesn't even matter. It has turned into something that people are looking forward to.
Mhm.
Two of the people have said, okay, how did you get this to happen? I don't know that I can tell you, which is why I need help here. If we're going to make this into something, we have already decided if people want the button just to have the button, fine, $7.50 for a button. Great. Now what? We have to be at this.
$750
No,
or
seven
$7.
$7.50.
You're going to have to get 1 million friends to be able to make $7 million.
No, we don't want, we're not looking to make money. That's the point.
It's
Wants to
worth
talk to me
something. It's
about it.
worth your time once a week, and it's worth the time of other people. So people are investing time. They're not
Yes,
investing money.
because it's easy. They don't have to prepare. There's no agenda. There's no hidden agendas. It's very open, transparent. We have geniuses and we have regular folks. We have guys who are interested in cars. We have guys like me who don't shouldn't even be working anymore.
All
We
right.
would even have you, Rocky, if you wanted to be there.
You described a hobby, not a business, and that's the
That's right.
difference.
It is.
And can you
Right
turn a
now, it is
hobby
a
into
Well, let
hobby.
me, let
business?
me frame it a little differently because I do something like this called Lunch Club, which is one on one. It's not a group thing, but I think what Richard is describing is kind of a safety valve to open up and talk, which I think
Yes.
is a needed thing because of so many of us are working home alone. And
Yes.
I've been doing that for 22, 23 years, since 2002, I guess, that I started working alone. And there's certainly a need to interact with people in ways where you don't have to feel you're dancing on stage and being the consultant or whatever you do to kind of open up and, psychologists would call it be vulnerable, right? To put yourself out there for
Precisely.
feedback and discussion.
Precisely, Bob. Thank you.
But what you're describing too, Richard, and I think this is what Rocky is reacting to as, sort of a not a fit for business people. When it's a pure cause and it doesn't have any money, it really can't grow. And so, it's not an all or nothing thing. Maybe you could charge, $20 a year so that you had some money to market it and grow it or something.
Well, here's what's happened. I don't want to grow our group because then it loses its intimacy. Each
Yeah.
group should be small.
Well, I'm assuming you'd create multiple groups.
Correct. Now, the question is, do we create it or do we help like this fella in London who wants us to help them? Do we just help somebody else do it and get paid for whatever we have learned as we share that information and that technology, whatever it is? I don't mean Zoom technology.
Well, you've got an expert
The
marketing.
underpinnings of this thing.
You got David, the expert marketer. You got Matt, the expert
I
AI
know, that's why I'm
technologist.
here.
Anybody have some feedback, thought, idea for Richard?
I think, well,
Yeah,
Bob helped me already. Go ahead.
yeah. What you just described is a community in one dimension. And one of the challenges that we all face is that there's so many different tools out there. There's WhatsApp, there's Facebook, there's LinkedIn. One thing that I've been trying to figure out how we can leverage the LinkedIn groups. There are many members there, but they are not active.
Right.
And it would be
That's true.
nice to have some sort of a live engagement or chat with the members. There are many groups out there. There's some of them have millions of members, but they're not active at all. I mean, so
Well, the
um,
Harvard and Yale groups and the systems thinking people, uh, I'm, if you how are you going to get them together? There, as you say, there's millions and that's crazy. That's not for us. But
mhm.
I'm
Yeah, it's more of a
connecting.
psychographic than a demographic, wouldn't it be?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's true. Um,
But I think the other part is if you look at it as a business, although it's not a business, but if you look at it from a business perspective, what's the mission, vision, values, and what's the reason
yeah,
for connecting? Because if it's a social group, that's one thing.
it
You know,
is.
people connect up, but again, are they just connecting up because they're lonely? Are they connecting up because they have a common interest? Are they connecting
Hmm.
up because they want to create some results for themselves? One of the challenges with most CEOs is they're a lone wolf. Bob has hit it on the head. Many of us operate independently. We don't talk to staff. About our issues or challenges or personal stuff. We oftentimes don't talk to friends and family because they don't get it. So the challenge
Well,
with it is to define, you know, in a very concise manner, what do people accomplish? What do people receive? What's the end
he-
result that they get when they join this network?
here's the deal. The show internally, we refer to it as a show about nothing. It is like Seinfeld. Yes, we do. It's like Seinfeld. There is nothing specific that goes on at any time. We get, for instance, AI can come up as a topic early in the show, let's say at 8:10 in the morning, and we'll be on it for 20 or 30 minutes because there's two guys who happen to attend who are terrific AI guys. They're always up to date and all of that good stuff. We also have people who are trying to write a book. Well, she's finally got one published, and we spent 15 minutes when she opened it in front of us from the publisher, her version to approve. We have, I can't even go through all the. Four of the people flew to Chicago 2 weeks ago to spend the weekend because one of the air shows was going to be there, and the Bears were playing and the Cubs were playing, and four people got together at this guy's apartment, drank like crazy, had a great time, met live for the first time, and we watched the video. I mean, it is that kind of a show about nothing group. And I don't want to apply a business thing to it, and they are not there for business. They are there to share lives and what's going on in their lives. There's somebody from Australia. This lady does sales. She has people from all over the world paying her $35. That's all she charges for a 1 hour session. And she gets 10 or 15 people at every session. And she talks about her kids and the way she's raising them. They stopped working, so they have nothing that they can buy their candy with. She says, well, then you're going to do without it, aren't you? Yes, they are, but that was the discussion for 10 minutes. So that's the show. It is about nothing. And it is the reason it exists is because people are tired of being on stage, having an agenda, needing to meet a requirement, having to look good all the time. I will say that women, if they're not dressed, their face isn't on until they get their makeup on, and that takes 10 minutes. So,
Mitch, I fully agree with you. The key here is I agree with Bob also that to make it sustainable, it has to be able to expand broadly and to be able to monetize in some fashion.
okay.
I think we could agree you have a niche. I think we could agree that people, if by expanding, that you can make this something, and that it needs to be monetized. So we are in the middle of this typhoon of technology, AI, blockchain, cryptocurrency. We are in the middle of something
Yes.
that is just going in so many different directions. I think the objective is for you or for us to be able to help you to capture this idea and be able to get on the tailwind of whatever that's zooming up. And I think that
Okay.
would be exciting because it's a big idea. It's a big idea in my mind is something that changes people's lives that really
Well, this
that
does. That's
yeah,
what they
it
tell
does
me.
change people's lives and be able to measure it in some way. But let's hear from David Saxby, who is a marketer. You also have a lot of other things. You've been coaching. So maybe you could share more, David. Big ideas in your business or industry we should know that you would let us know. David?
Oh, sure. I think one of the challenges, you just kind of hit it on the head there, Rocky, is you get so much of this technology going on and so many channels of communication. I see it all the time. There's somebody's launched another network, and we launched another group they're inviting people to. You've got all things on all times, 24/7. And maybe Richard, for what you're doing, it's more about just a personal connection. It's just finding out, what people are up to and making that relationship work. And I think all of the technology now, the pushback is a lot of it, because it's AI driven, is not building relationships the way that relationships typically
Right.
built, which is a common ground, a common interest. And that's why when I was talking about the business concept, I wasn't suggesting it be a business, but most businesses start, and Simon Sinek probably is the guy that coined the word, with a reason why.
Yeah.
Why did they start? What's the connection point? Why do people want to connect up with you or other people in your group and so on? Why are we here today? It's a good example. And I think so. Once we define what that is, then we can attract more people. So if you want to grow your network, you want to grow your business, you find people that have a common connection. And what is that? It might be a hobby. It could be a business concept. It could be a relationship that's just purely friends based on a common idea. So again, it comes down to that concept. And I'm not the guy that created the concept, but Simon Sinek kind of nailed it when he said what's missing in a lot of businesses is the reason why they went into business. Why did the group form? Why do we do what we do? And I oftentimes question myself. Wake up in the morning and go, okay, well, why am I getting up today? What's the purpose? What am I going to achieve? And who am I going to, connect with? Who am I going to help? What am I going to provide them that will help them improve their life, their business, their relationship, whatever it is? So as a coach, that's oftentimes what I'm trying to figure out is how can I help that person discover for themselves, not to tell them how to do it, but
Right.
discover for themselves why they are doing what they're doing.
Yeah, so David, would you agree or maybe give me your thoughts about tracking performance? If you track somebody's performance, like whether it's a business or individual, where they're at now, where they're at in a week, a month, a year, and for me, I don't like tracking. I just think it's a waste of time. But if somebody else does
Really?
it, then I could say, oh, I was this person a year ago, and now I am this person. Either money is one way to track it. I either have more money or
Yeah.
less money than I had last year. And the key is to be able to do that. That would be valuable. Wouldn't you agree, David?
Absolutely. There's an old adage that says what gets measured gets done. And
You really said that you don't like tracking, Rocky? You
I
think it's a waste of time.
Well, yeah, there's so many things to track. Let's say my physical, my weight, my height, my mood, my pulse. All of a sudden, I said,
Okay.
forget all that tracking. I'm just going to show up. If I'm alive, thank you. If I'm
Okay.
not, take me to a
Yeah.
hospital or the other place that doesn't I don't come back. So all that tracking, there's so many devices, and I had bought those devices. It used to be the Fitbit, then the Apple Watch, then how to
Yeah.
track it. But I thought, well, that's me. So if that's me, I'm the average Joe, then
Oh,
that
come,
could
you
be,
aren't average anything, Roger.
well, in
I'm
tracking.
sorry.
Let's say tracking, is that possible for a lot of people? Because in business, if we put a business aspect to this, we measure business and they do by money. Money is the fundamental. They have more money, good, continue. If they don't, and marketing is one of those things that maybe David, you could step into that. It's one of those things that it takes a while, it's incremental, but at some point there's aha moments and the results. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I think that the challenge again becomes why are you tracking it? What do you want to accomplish? But also, one of the biggest challenges in marketing is we do something today. Maybe we post online, maybe we, send out an e-newsletter. We do something today, and we don't necessarily know that tomorrow somebody's going to call us, email us, messenger us, whatever it is, to hire us to do something to pay us for a job. So with marketing, you can sometimes, when you're tracking things, you can see a pattern. More than anything else, the thing is the pattern. What happened? What did you do at this point? And what happened in a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 5 years? Because something happens with marketing where you're building that connection to somebody. I've had people call me 5 years later after they attended a workshop
Yeah.
and say, I had one gal stop me in the middle of the street and she said, "You're David Saxby, aren't you?" And I went, "Yeah." And she said, "I was in your course 5 years ago and I still have your workbook sitting on my desktop." Now, did I get any business from her 5 years ago? No. But the fact that she has my workbook still sitting on her desktop means that she's talking to other people as well, right? She's using it in her business. She's making connections and talking about things she's learned. So again, it depends on what you want to see as an outcome from a tracking perspective. So in marketing, we set kind of benchmarks of what we want to achieve and then track it. Because you can go online and there's all sorts of tools. Matt can probably talk to this. There's all sorts of tools where you get reams of data. But can you interpret that data and make sense of it and figure out what the pattern is and then create the next move in your marketing plan that makes sense? So I think
yeah.
that's the key is metrics mean nothing. Marketing or measurement means nothing unless you have a purpose behind it and you can use that information to move your business forward.
Well, it's my impression that every business wants marketing. The measurement or the size of marketing varies depending on their budget. Let me open it up to see if anybody has a question, comment, thought, feedback for David.
I
Anybody?
think it's a powerful idea. And I think most social media is sort of trying to do this in one way or another. It's just got different whys for bringing people together.
Right.
I'm coincidentally, I'm wearing a shirt here that says Imagine Land on it, right?
Yeah.
Imagine Land is about social intelligence for children because our society and schools, and unfortunately, even parents, have failed to help develop the social and emotional skills of children. So it's for children that are 3 to 11 years old. And I was a month away from closing $1 million prior to COVID, and I put it on the shelf. But it's a facility that has 100% activities that get kids to engage socially and emotionally. And so it's sort of the same thing you're talking about, but catching it in for the youth as opposed to as an escape valve and a salve maybe for the adult. that may have, I mean, we're talking about a loneliness epidemic, right? The book Bowling Alone. I don't know how many of you have heard about that, but it was considered sort of a groundbreaking revelation in how societies, old bowling cultures where people got together every week, have collapsed,
Yeah.
partially because of social media, which is sort of fake relationships, right?
Yeah.
No one thinks that they've got a friend when they click on Facebook is a real friend. A friend is someone that shows up on moving day, right? A friend is someone who's there to listen to you and to do all kinds of other stuff. And so that's the emotional intelligence spectrum. And I think it's a way to look at this from a psychological and sociological standpoint as a solution to a problem of, too much loneliness, too much putting your face on, and have a place to take your hair down. And I like the name. The problem being, it sounds like it's only on Fridays, right?
That's because it is.
Yeah.
Actually, Bob, there's another book out too that was just kind of an interesting concept, and it was the title was "Never Eat Alone."
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
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 Talking to
Yeah.
CEOs about the fact that they've got time
Yeah.
where they could meet with somebody and have lunch together and
But
discuss.
that was networking for business,
Yeah,
not for sort of personal release, if I remember. Yeah.
but the same concept could apply to friendships.
Yeah.
Like, I've got buddies I just call up and go, "Hey, let's get together
Yeah.
and chat about what's happening."
There's I put a piece up the other day on LinkedIn and I said, use NI instead of AI. And I explained what NI is. It's natural intelligence instead of artificial intelligence. And NI predates artificial by a couple of 100,000 years or more. And if you take a look at what I put up, it's about this 3D zooming, rotating, horizontal thing that we carry with us all the time. We call it our brain. And it just does everything. The NI, if we use it, can address this antisocial, asocial society, global society that we're faced with, which is really destructive as hell. I mean, the birth rate is down, climate change is real in one way or another, wherever you live. There are things happening here to the globe, to the earth, that is reflected in the way we are interacting, and maybe it's a parallel cause. I don't really know what that's all about, but there is something there. And for my money, paper and pencil relate the same as NI for me.
Talking to Matt Folk in terms of big ideas or opportunities in the business or in the industry. Matt Folk.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. I think the big idea is, like I mentioned before, is the ecosystem. One area that I think there's a huge opportunity is about finding the right synergy for everyone. And that is when you actually part of any groups, you don't know 1 + 1 or plus another one equals to 10 or 3 or -3. Those are huge untapped opportunities. That's exactly why we build the AIX network. It's about bringing partners and customers and community and nonprofits all in one, and uncover and to explore potential synergy. And this is one area that most companies are not doing it, and that's untapped opportunities for everyone. Now, going back to the AI space, AI is not just for one person; it's about many together, tapping into their intelligence and insights, and create a new AI agent for experience that you can actually apply for doctors. You have applied to any subject matter expertise. In fact, we're working with a neurology medical center, bringing over 150 doctors together. Imagine you can tap in using AI agent to tap into 150 doctors with 50 years experience all together. Think about the power, the superpower, AI superpower that you can bring to the table. And
Matt,
that's something that we can apply to every vertical niche.
yeah, Matt, I fully agree with you. The ecosystem concept makes a lot of sense, and a lot of a lot of not a lot. Well, some businesses have agreed that that's the case. What I'm finding though is that they're not buying into it yet. I think they struggle for the value to figure out what's the value of creating an ecosystem. Can you say more about that, Matt?
Well, I think you've seen it. This is something have to look at from a strategic point of view, not short-sighted. Everybody in silo because they just want to get stuff now, but that's not going to work. You look at partner network ecosystem. This is something that started way back in during the pandemics. Both McKinsey, Deloitte came up with the reports. You want to have a hybrid growth, you gotta have a partner network ecosystem. And that's exactly why NVIDIA have a partner network ecosystem. They're the most valuable company in the world. $4 trillion. Why do they care about partner
Ridiculous.
network ecosystem? For the same reason. Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, companies are not thinking that way because they're just tunnel vision. They don't want to have. They don't look about long term. They want to have tactical wins. Well, there are pros and cons, but right now, you don't have a network ecosystem strategy, you're not going to go too far. I mean, look at the right there, the banner right there. 75% of a B2B executives betting on ecosystem, right there from Forrester Research.
X network that you have, Matt, and we
Yeah,
started talking about the Friday for Friends, that would
That's it.
really fit in. If we thought really optimistically, if they all stepped in, if you had a network of people around the world even that can meet on Friday or X day, then
X day.
they could
yeah,
actually grow that to be something meaningful. Wouldn't you agree, Matt?
absolutely. We're currently
Interesting.
working with multiple organizations, one of which is Christian World Network. Um, they have associated with over 3 million members in the Christian communities. We're providing the technology. Absolutely, any communities at any size with common interests. The key is common interest, right? That can be anything, right? We're currently working with medical health. That's another common interest, right? So the X stands for whatever niche that you focus on, right? That can be anything. That they have common interests, right? They come together for purpose, whatever purpose they try to do, right? That can be anything. But the key is that instead of one person do everything alone, then you can bring everyone together. Everyone got their own strengths and weaknesses. They all complement each other. That's the whole idea, right? This is about community helping each other, right? So, um, you know, I think this is the way of the future because, as you know, the traditional or the current social media network is not going to cut it. It's just a whole bunch of spams and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you don't build trust. People just go there throwing spam at you, blah blah blah, and it's not healthy. So what we try to do, in fact, I just talked to another digital marketing agency doing multiple nonprofits for the same thing. So yeah, it's about helping each other.
Yeah, and it could be a stepping stone. You got the Friday for Friends, and then stepping into a wide network. Let's hear from Bob Norton because Bob, I'm impressed with the things that you have. You're writing a book. You've got three businesses. You're also doing some things in the medical area. Can you say anything that you could share about big ideas in your business or your industry, Bob?
Well, I think everyone here has heard before that, my goal with airtight management is to address the issue of why so few companies grow beyond 10 million. It's 1 in 400 statistically, according to the Kaufman organizations, which studies entrepreneurship. And only 1 in 6,300 get to the $100 million, which, you know, is starting to become a substantial business. Some would call it a medium-sized business, maybe breaking into that area. But I think the reasons for it are pretty obvious once you've spent, 20, or in my case, 40 years, in entrepreneurship, looking at all the reasons that companies fail. And I wrote an ebook on this called The Top 20 Reasons Companies Fail, which is an analysis of the research from PitchBook on this topic. And out of their 20, some of them aren't real reasons, they're excuses. And there's maybe 8 core reasons, but a lot of them come down to the team not having proper experience and not having a structured process to design and build a company that is scalable. I think a popcorn stand can be turned into $100 million business if you focus and if you do a good job of marketing and if you do a good job of innovating, right? I mean, Peter Drucker, who we've referred to already, that was his quote about you can't improve what you don't measure. And Rocky's right too, that too many numbers, gets cluttered and becomes useless. You've got to have a few KPIs for each area of the business to have that feedback loop, which is part of the Kaizen philosophy of constant and never improvement in a business. So, I'm working on that problem. Airtight management, when injected into a company that has proven its value proposition, takes the cap off growth and addresses literally all of these reasons. Jim Collins's books list the reasons and offer no solutions, although, I've got tremendous respect for his revealing of these problems. But airtight management solves all those problems because I've collected best practices from over 1,000 books over 40 years now, and engineered them using my nerd engineering experience to apply to the art of entrepreneurship and scaling, which is the name of the podcast I coined some time ago and am just starting to launch now. So maybe that's a new thing no one's heard. I've got about 40 podcasts coming out, which were AI generated from my previous articles and writings and materials to put them into video and audio.
It's on a monthly basis for presidents of companies. And tomorrow we have it for CEOs. So you don't have to wait a month. Join us tomorrow, and every day of the week we have a session. And the key here is that we want you, of course, to connect with other people and consider also being part of our business longevity team, where we help businesses transition. We're showcasing one of our clients on next Friday, so certainly encourage you to participate.